Hey guys, my name is Aiden, and today we'll be reviewing TW Price Dawn. So this was made by or designed by Tyler at Tyler Price. I think he's only like 20 or 21 years old, knife designer, and this was OEM'd by Bestech. And this is his first design, and I think this knife just looked amazing that I had to pre-order. The pre-order was sometime like late last year, and then I hopped on it real quick, and I don't regret one bit that I pre-ordered this knife. This is an amazing knife so far. I mean, I've only had it for months, but for that months that I've had it, I'm just having like amazing time with it. Just cutting, opening up packages, cutting boxes, and all that. All right, let's go into specs. So this knife, this knife comes in at about 7.5 inch overall, 3 inch cutting edge, 3.25 inch blade, and then about 4.25 inch handle lengths. And this knife will weigh 3.2 ounces. I think that's a great weight for the size of this knife. There's a nice and get like the internal millings on a scale, all the weight reliefs, and then here's a quick comparison of my Benchmade 940 and Spyderco Shaman. It is shorter than both of these, but it's pretty comparable to 940, I would say. I don't have a bug out. I think the bug out would be a really good comparison, but I don't own one. Here's a Demko 20.5. This is almost an identical length to 20.5. So yeah, just a little skinnier. All right. So the ergo on this thing is just amazing, but there's just like a little sharpening choil or finger choil right here that doesn't really work out with my hand. I have like medium to large glove size hands, so if you have like any larger hand than I do, you're not really gonna even like bother putting your finger here. I can do it kind of, but I am a little afraid that I'm gonna cut my finger just towards the end here if I really choke it up. But I can kind of do it, but I rather just use it in the normal grip or just like pinch grip. Pinch grip is just amazing on this knife because these grooves just like hold your finger real nice, and then yeah, just cutting boxes like this, or you can just hold it around the pivot area. It's great. Yeah, so the ergo's good. The action is fantastic. It's from Bestech. It's not really like a drop shut, it's more of a shake shut, but it works so good. The detent is on the little like a lighter side, I think. Yeah, in my opinion, I think it's like a lighter detent. But it's all right. The one thing that I was gonna talk about is that the detent bolt doesn't really sink in all the way. That's why even with like a bit more of a higher like a lock bar pressure, so the lock bar pressure, it's like little like a bit higher than like most of my knives, but since the detent bolt doesn't sink in all the way, it just creates like a lighter detent. For comparison, here's my Koenig Arius, which the detent bolt sinks in all the way, so the lock bar is like almost touching the blade pretty much, hence creating like really nice and sticky detent. And same with my Evo 2.0. The detent ball is sunken all the way, creating like a nice and tight detent. This one doesn't really have that, but the lock bar pressure is solid, so pretty high, so it's just like it just, you know, balances it out. So the action is pretty good. It is a shake shot because just how light it's mostly due to how light the blade is. It is a very thin knife, and I recently actually got the caliper, so I was able to measure the behind the edge thickness, which was 13 to 14 thousandths behind the edge, which is amazing for like a production knife. I've never seen any other production knife with that thin of a grind, behind the edge grind, other than the CKF Evo 2.0, and then I think some like a Microtech do it. But yeah, for like a production knife, I think that was really great because it just makes the knife just like a laser beam when it's cutting like boxes. The factory edge wasn't that great, but I mean it was definitely serviceable. It's usable. I mean I've been using it without resharpening it. I was gonna sharpen it sometime soon, give it like a nice and the KME edge, 17 per side. I think the factory comes in about like 25 per side, so that is pretty steep for how small the knife is. But I'm gonna lay it back to 17, and it should just cut really great once I do that. Even better than it is, which I can't imagine. But yeah, that's that. So the carry, the pocket knife, the pocket clip on this thing is little big. It's nice and skinny, but I think that the lengths could be shortened a bit. It's not like a fatal flaw or anything. I think it just can be a little smaller or shorter, but this is fine, works out great. I know on the prototype, this lock bar cutout was on the outside of the scale, and I would have really disliked that. I tend to really enjoy the lock bar cutout on the inside of the scale. I think every frame lock should have that, in my opinion. There's just no reason for the cutout to be on the outside. It just makes no difference on the action, and for when you're carrying the pocket clip, it's just like every single knife that has the on a frame lock that has the cutout on the outside, it just snags. But this knife just been great. There is like a flat spot underneath the pocket clip, so when it goes in and out, it's just nice and smooth. It doesn't catch or it doesn't grab onto the cutouts and the pattern on the tie scale. Also, the finishes, yeah, it is the tie scale is nice and contoured. There are no harsh edges on this knife, and just only on these grooves on the blade, which is needed for you to really flick it out. Oh, before we get to finishes, yeah. So you guys know I love reverse flicking. This knife works like 99% of the time. There are some times where I miss. I really have to try to miss just like that. But most of the time, when I really mean to flick it out, it works. Like 90% of the time, it works. Sometimes I just do this dumb thing where but that's great. Thumb flick, amazing. I don't know what I don't know if it's just these hand rub satin version, or I know there's a couple variants. There's the black handle with the blasted or stonewash finish. I think it's like a blasted finish, like a bead blast finish. But that one, I don't know how the sharp these edges are for the for these the grooves. But for the thumb flick, it works out amazing because like it's nice and sharp, but not enough to like really like shave your like skin off your thumb or anything. But it's nice and sharp that it just grabs onto your thumb when you flick it. So thumb flick is just amazing on this knife. And also this is a front flipper, so you can just front flip all you want, do these side things and reverse flick. So just so many ways to deploy. I'm just loving it. I'm not a fan of like a regular flipper, so the front flipper just works great. And I just love the fact that I can reverse flick it and thumb flick it. Usually with the hole or like these thumb groove knives, I have like difficult time thumb flicking it, but this knife, holy crap, guys, this is just amazing for everything, every just opening. Also so the finishes, now we can move on. Okay, so contour really nice, no harsh edges, and I think the just finish on this thing is just done great by Bestech. I have taken this knife apart a few times now. When I first got it, I did have some issue. I think it wasn't like the whole knife problem, but when I was opening it slowly or like closing it slowly, I just like heard this like click, just in the middle, and it was just bothering the crap out of me. And then I took it apart, and then I was talking to Tyler about it on Instagram. I messaged him, and he said like, could you send me like picture of everything? And I don't think he could have really like figured it out from the picture, but I found out that it was the bearings. I mean, he gave me the idea, like, do you think it's like the bearing or the steel insert, the track, the bearing track? So I was just playing with the bearing, just rolling it in my thumb, and we found out that it was definitely the bearing that was causing that weird click noise, because one of the ceramic ball inside, this runs on ceramic ball bearing and also has the ceramic ball detent, and one of the bearing wasn't really just sitting like correctly in this track. So he sent me the new set of bearings and new set of steel inserts, the steel track for the bearings to run on the tie scale sides. For free, no cost. It only took him like a week. So I just texted him about it, and it was like, hey, cool, I'll just send you a new set of bearing and a track, and just try that out, and if that doesn't help, just send in the knife, and then he'll send me like a replacement. I was like, awesome, yeah, I'll just try the new set of bearings. And it just took him about a week until it got delivered, and I just put those the new bearings and track in, and no problem. It's just like, yeah, it fixed the issue completely. There's no weird clicks when I close or open, just no weirdness. Yep, it just completely fixed the issue. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you, Tyler, again for helping me out with that. All right, so for the just moving on, for the uses, I mean, you guys can see how thin the stock is and how nice and thin the tip is. So you definitely don't really want to pry with this knife. I say like use it like how most of you guys probably have like a Benchmade bug out, or something equivalent to it, like these thin slicey EDC knife, more compact size. Yeah, you just treat it like how you would treat those knives. You're not really gonna like pry open a car door with it, or just open a can of beans or something. Just I don't know, like it's just great for just cutting boxes, just cutting and slicing stuff, not really prying. And it's harder to use just baton or anything, that'd be crazy. But I don't think anybody will do that kind of sort of stuff with this. But I know some people out there likes to like baton with their pocket knives and whatnot. Just use a fixed blade, guys. Don't use your folding knife or batoning. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing for just cutting packages and boxes. Yeah. All right. So for sharpening, obviously I haven't got a chance to sharpen this, but I'm telling you guys, I can't wait to sharpen it. This is the knife is just so thin that sharpening is just gonna be a dream. There's not a lot of material that I'll have to just really shave off to even lay it back to 17 degrees. So I think it's gonna be pretty nice and easy to sharpen this, honestly. Yeah. And the value. So this knife cost me $280. There was no shipping fee or anything. I don't believe there was. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it just cost me $280 flat. And when I pre-ordered it, I don't know how much Tyler would charge you once he comes in more batches and he sells it on this website or something. But for the pre-order, this was $280, and I think that the B-Blast blade with the black scale was $260 or $265, and then there were obviously the Damasteel one, which costed like a $400, $450, somewhere in between. I think those are really good deal for Damasteel. You don't really see a lot of Damasteel knives around that price range. You usually mostly see like, I don't know, like a mid, like $550 to like $600-$700 for just any Damasteel knives. Because I know Damasteel is just really quality, made in the USA and all that. So I really should have picked up the Damasteel one. I regret it. I mean, I just regret not picking that up one as well as this one. Let's just put it at that. But yeah, this is just been a fantastic knife. I just can't wait for Tyler's next design, or just any new things that he'll come up with. I know he's been listening to a lot of other reviewers like Metal Complex, Neves Knives, and all the criticism. I know he just takes it well, and then he is just willing to fix just any like smaller issues or problems that they mention. So it's just like he's one of those guys that listens to the community, and then really, gives us that feedback. And so I can't wait for his next product. And lastly, the value was fantastic. I know it's made by like Bestech in China, but I mean, guys, like if this exact knife was made in the USA, there's no doubt it'll cost around $500 to $600. So I mean, for the price, what you get is just amazing. It's incredible. I can't tell you enough how much I love this knife. I've been just fidgeting with it, just annoying the crap out of my wife with this knife every day. But yeah. All right, so that was a quick review on TW Price Dawn. Thank you guys for tuning in today, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.